Well, happy Tuesday. That's Coach Doug Cook. I'm Bill Maharis. Together we are Press Box Overtime. And Doug, another box we're checking tonight for the first time ever. We're at a middle school event. This year, for the first time, Brevard Public Schools has added 2 sports. Used to only have track and basketball. This year they added soccer and girls volleyball. So guess what? Tonight, live from Hoover Middle School in beautiful Indian Atlantic. What a beautiful day too. We're here to watch Flash of the Coast. 2 big rivalries, DeLaura Middle School versus Hoover Middle School, both undefeated, 4-0. Whoever wins tonight is going to take first place all by themselves in the South Division. But first of all, a little history between 2 of us. So Doug, you've worked actually at both Hoover and DeLaura. So what did you do at Hoover?
Well, at Hoover I was a teacher and coach football, basketball back when they had football. And at DeLaura I was a dean for like 8 months.
That's right.
So
you came out of retirement.
Yeah, it's good to be back here. It was a great experience here at Hoover, great community.
Yeah.
And just had a lot of fun here. Of course, I was a lot younger. So,
well, just so that people know, we had to switch seats because Doug didn't put his makeup on today. He wanted your good side, so hopefully we accomplished that. For anybody that's new to Brevard County sports, and I know we got a couple grandparents watching today. We got one from Omaha, Nebraska. We got one from Tennessee. You mentioned football. Now, what's the difference with how they had football then and do not have it now?
Well, it was junior high back then. It was 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
And the district, they eliminated middle school or junior high school football several years ago.
Right.
So, unfortunately, they don't have it anymore. I wish they did.
Right.
It really helps your high school program.
And that brings up a good point. When they got rid of 9th grade, and actually, again, and I'll go over my little history here with this gym and DeLaura, as we see all these blank spots on the walls, that's where they had all the championship.
Right.
And they had, I think they had soccer maybe, I can't remember. I know they had volleyball, they had football, because again, 9th grade, that's where your 9th grade sports were. And for me, a lot of the students lost a lot of opportunities because unless you live in an area, and we're talking about Brevard County, that has a good recreation department feeder system, you didn't really have a chance to play a lot of sports in middle school once they took 9th grade away. So I'm glad to see that they've added these 2 sports. And you've got 5 kids that played sports, all of them played in college, one finishing up her volleyball career. A lot of kids play soccer and volleyball, so I'm glad to see that those came.
Yeah, I love volleyball. I think it's great. This is great for the kids here to have volleyball at this level. They're going to learn various skills that they wouldn't have the opportunity to do otherwise. And a lot of these girls, I'm sure a lot of these girls play on travel team. Maybe some of these girls don't play on travel team.
Right.
But it's got to improve their skill level for, once they get to high school and try out on the high school team. And volleyball is very competitive in this county.
Right. And, we sent your daughter went to a junior college on a scholarship, now playing at Division II, finishing up her college career. A lot of our club teams, they get together here in Brevard County, win a lot of national tournaments, etc. So, and again, I think you said it right. It's not only does it give those young ladies, and we'll talk about volleyball, gives them the opportunity that play a club sport to now play for the school, but maybe gives the opportunity for some other kids that don't play for a club, but they're a good athlete. They can pick up the game. I know Brenda Sadowski, who's a PE teacher here and the athletic director, a good friend of mine. She was here when I was here, and I'll go over that a little bit later. But a lot of these girls, it gives them that opportunity. So now when they go to high school, they've got some competitiveness under their belts.
Right. That's great. And they play, they play in other schools, and they get that competitive edge, like you said.
Right.
And they have rivalries too between the schools, more so the club.
Right.
You got that rivalry. This is a big rivalry here.
Right.
For sure. Back when I coached football, it was a big rivalry between Hoover and DeLaura. So I'm looking for a great game tonight. There's some tall girls out there too. I'm excited to be back. My daughter, this is her last year playing college volleyball. So I enjoy the indoor volleyball.
Well, I think my daughter, let me see here, she finished in 2017 playing lacrosse in college. My son, of course, played 3 sports, and this kind of fills a void as parents and as we wait for our grandparents to get to that age, to where they play. So, like we tell people, we're living the dream. For myself, I was blessed to be at DeLaura for 6 years as the what do they say, the the most popular as the dean. Which you filled in for a year. And then I moved over here for 5 years as the assistant principal. So again, and when you look at the way our county is built, and again, for those watching that aren't familiar with Brevard County, we're 76 miles long. It's the longest stretch of I-95 in the state of Florida. But except for DeLaura and Hoover, which are here at what we call beachside or on the coast, you've got Jefferson on Merritt Island. Other than that, everybody else is mainland. So you're right, these two schools, DeLaura and Hoover, geographically, I'm sure a lot of the kids probably play sports together in their youth. But this is a rivalry that's been in the making for probably 50 years when they were built.
Oh, big time. You know, we're on a barrier island here.
Right.
We also have Cocoa Beach, which is north of here. That's a big rivalry too.
Right.
So these kids play against each other, you know, in all kind of sports. Baseball, basketball. They have a basketball league here, a real big basketball league down here in the Atlantic.
Right.
So it's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think it will. So we'll talk a little bit about volleyball. Both these teams come in 4-0. There are 12 teams that play middle school volleyball, and we'll go over that in a minute about why there's not 17, because there's actually 17 middle schools. But there's 12 teams, standalone traditional middle schools. We have 6 in the South Division. We've got 6 in the North Division. Hoover and DeLaura are both in the South Division. They both beat the other 4 teams. So pretty much whoever wins tonight will be sitting in first place by themselves. They do play again, and I believe it's May 1st, the last week of the season, up at DeLaura. I was talking to one of the coaches. I remember, I used to be the county athletic director for 4 years. We had a couple ties. Yes, I actually flipped a coin in my office with a couple of coaches listening. So I'm not sure if one team wins tonight and one wins on May 1st. Again, if they beat the other 4 teams like they already have, because anything can happen, talking to one of the coaches, whether it's points or points given up or flip of the coin. And it's important because both teams, both the first and second team, will make the playoffs. The point, though, is the number 1 seed plays the number 2 seed from the north, and the number 2 seed plays the number 1. So, again, I don't know how strong. I haven't really paid attention to the teams in the north. But, again, you want to be the number 1 seed to play their second best. So, again, I'm not sure how that tie is going to go, but it's going to be interesting to see how 2 undefeated teams, and got a pretty good crowd, probably, I don't know, maybe 100. I don't know about you. I'm sure you did some basketball games at DeLaura when you were, they packed the gym on basketball. Maybe not as much, because again, basketball was a doubleheader.
And this is still new at the middle school level, so the kids are just getting the hang of it.
Right.
I think it's gonna catch on big time.
I think so. We're gonna flip this around. You've seen enough of us.
Yeah.
They're probably getting ready to introduce the teams and maybe do the pledge. Take my glasses off so I can see. We'll.
Bill, you mentioned that we have some grandmothers watching.
We do. I see one is on. I'm gonna do this real quick and get her name. Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
How are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, got a big crowd tonight.
Prize for the singing of the national anthem from some of our Hoover students.
lot of ball games back in the day. There's nothing better than having the kids come out and sing. I don't care if it's middle school or high school.
I mean, I miss, you know, I was 42 years in the school system. You were how many years?
19.
19. I miss,
It seemed like 42.
I miss the atmosphere, you know, around the athletes, around the kids, and you know, the teachers, and so forth. So it's fun to be out here with
It is,
the kids. It's all about the kids.
I'm gonna just adjust this a little bit and make sure.
Please stand and be recognized for your sacrifices and dedication. Hoover Middle School students, faculty, and staff thanks you and your family for your service.
There we go. That's good.
Hey, thank you. Let's get this game started.
All right, so you know a little bit more about volleyball than I do. So in talking to Miss Terry, the athletic director, another good friend of ours from DeLaura. So it's best 2 out of 3 matches. First 2 sets on the 25, you got to win by 2. And then the last set, you only have to go up to 15, but again, win by 2. So 2 out of 3 sets. First 2 are to 25, the third one is to 15, and you have to win by 2. So.
Yep. And you mentioned earlier about the grandmothers on here. You and I have grandkids. I've got 6. I think you got 3 and 1 on the way, right?
I've got 4.
4?
Yeah.
1 on the way.
Have you heard something I haven't? No, just got 4.
I thought you had 1 on the way. All right.
Wait, let me make a quick phone call. I'll be right back.
But you know, it's so heartwarming to know that grandparents are out there.
Yeah.
Because we know, having grandkids, how it is.
Right.
To watch them play, and if you're out of town, you know, you really feel bad because you can't go watch them in person.
Right.
Every game. So I'm just happy that we've been able to do this to have grandparents watch.
And I do see, and Lori, I hope I don't butcher your last name too much. Lori Saito or Kaito, C-A-I-T-O. She's watching from Omaha. I'm not sure who her granddaughter is or which team she's on, but Lori, we appreciate you watching all the way from Omaha. And then we've got Terry Bradford from Tennessee, whose granddaughter, I'm going to assume is Salem Bradford. I'm just going by the last names. She does play for Hoover, so again, we want to get a shout out to those 2 grandparents that are watching their granddaughters. And you know, we talked about this before, Doug. You know, there's a lot of other great industries or individuals that do streaming here. They get a lot more looks than us, but when we get people, hey, I'm up in Nebraska, I'm up in Tennessee. I don't care if just those 2 people watch, it's worth our time.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it's very heartwarming to know that you know, parents that are away, or grandparents that are watching their grandkids. It's really nice. It's nice.
Like I said, so me and you are kind of stuck with, you know, waiting for those grandkids. Let's get them up here so we can watch. So first serve is going to be from number 9, DeLaura. That's Madison Hadley. She's an 8th grader. And we have started. So remind me, Doug, we got 2 refs, and then the flag people are usually students that do the flags. So first serve out of bounds, getting those jitters out of their system. 1-0 Hoover. We just started. If you just joined us, first set, 1-0 Hoover's first serve. That was number 6 for Hoover. That was Sienna Lees. Again, kind of getting those jitters out of the way. You know, a big rivalry. Both are undefeated. Some of these girls probably follow each other on social media, so.
It's like me on the first hole when I tee it up and hit the ball like 10 yards.
I usually kick in about that 18th hole. That's when I really start getting started. All right, we got number 2 for DeLaura, Ava Butler. Get ready to serve. That was an ace.
Good serve there by
DeLaura
Ava.
goes up 2-1. So again, we've seen 2 missed serves and an ace. Haven't seen a ball in play yet, but I'm pretty sure that's coming. Back for her second serve. Ava Butler, number 2. She's an 8th grader at DeLaura. Set up. For Hoover. You know, I watch a lot of college volleyball. I like the way they do that and just do that little tip drill because those girls back away from that net.
Yeah, I mean, these girls are showing some great skill so far. Nice serve and nice volley so far.
Hoover serve. Coming back up towards the net. Nice little shot. Set up by number 6. Number 7 back at it. Number 3 up for the serve. Puts DeLaura up 3-2. First set. Katie is an 8th grader. You know, that's one thing I noticed with DeLaura. They've got 15 players. 13 are 8th graders. So I'm thinking they got some 7th graders waiting in the wings, but they've got the experience this year.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That makes a big difference that
All right,
one
back
year.
to serve is Brooklyn Morrell for DeLaura. Up 3-2. Up in the net. Again, I'm sure once they get those jitters out of the way, they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, it's always nerve-wracking when you're playing in front of people.
And like you said, this is just their 5th match as a school. So again, they're still getting used to playing in front of their home crowd, their fellow students. Also a shot over by number 11, Sophia Drack. And the shot, that was number 3 again, Katie Tench.
That was a nice kill. That was a nice kill
kill
right there.
Puts DeLaura up 4-3. I'm thinking we might have some long sets the way this is going. I mean, up to 20, because these are so far 2 evenly matched. That's why they're both undefeated.
They are. You can tell they're very evenly matched. There's some tall girls out there too.
Back up to the net.
Short.
That serve, I believe.
Point
Number 11,
DeLaura.
Jordan Walter. She's an 8th grader. Puts DeLaura up 5-3. Again, if you just joined us, still in the first set. Nice little push over by number 6 for Hoover. That was Lee's. Nice little set. Number 7 up. Nice little shot. That was Ada Solomon. And that was 9. Back within 1. We're serving down 4-5. Number 2 for Hoover, Elena St. Jean. Nope, hands it off to number 8. That is Sadie Nicholson for the serve. 4 serving 5. Nice serve. Nice save by Butler. And right there, we're tied up again, 5-5. I feel like we're watching a Florida Gator basketball game. You know, how many lead changes and ties and everything else.
I'm really getting into it because I know it's a big rivalry.
Another nice serve. Number 11 goes back to get that. Back to number 5. That goes over. That was Nyla Shirley. Back over by Brack. Up for the kill. Oh, nice little push. You called her name several times tonight already. Again, Doug, another one of those little simple pushes to that empty spot.
Yeah, nice try there by Dickerson.
Now Katie Tench back to serve. 6-5, DeLaura up first set. Oh, nice
She put a little power on that one.
yeah, I think so. I'm glad we're sitting up here. DeLaura serving up 7-5. That is Tench back there to serve. DeLaura by 2. So if it hits the ground, I'm guessing it's an ace. If it's not return, I'm not sure if there's another turn for that.
Yeah, it'd be an ace.
Wow. 3 in a row. Miss Tench, she's got 3 in a row. We're going to call her timeout. Referee talking. Maybe we got some jewelry. And that's a safety factor. Again, they're jumping around, they're on the ground. Plus, you don't want anybody to lose something that's pretty special to them.
Absolutely.
You don't want anybody to get hit in the eye or anything. All right, Tench back to serve. Got 3 aces in a row. Wow, that made it through the rafters. 5 up for the slam. She's also an 8th grader. They've rattled off 5 points in a row, Doug. This is Hoover's got to get that momentum train stopped.
3's on a run here.
Tench has racked up 6 straight points. 4 of them were aces.
I thought it would be a good time for Hoover to have a timeout. Stop the momentum there.
Yeah, it's you know what, and listen, and you watched a lot of volleyball with your daughters that have played. You know, you get a server on a run like that. I mean, that's tough. I mean, that's like getting a pitcher that comes in and strikes out 4 or 5 in a row.
Yeah, my daughter, she got 13 one time.
Really? Wow.
She was on a run. She was hot that night.
All right, so you're Coach at Hoover. I don't think either one of you have either coached. I know I haven't. Volleyball. We both coach a lot of sports. What are you telling them, right? What is she? I'm sure she's probably settling them down.
She's telling them to calm down.
Right.
You're better than this. Just relax.
Right.
And do your job. Do what you've been coached to do.
Right. I think that she's reminding them that they're 4-0 for a reason, as both teams are. DeLaura serving 11-5, Katie Tinch. I think this is her 7th serve. Nice one again. Nice little push over.
Nice push.
Good stop by DeLaura. Nice little play here. Nice little set. Back up the top. Got Solomon back over. Gonna drop in. Gonna set it back a little bit. There's Tinch. Oh, nice
Great
spot.
ball.
That's a good rally. Oh, there you go. I gotta get it. Nice little over. A couple little bumps. Set up in the air. Not gonna fall in. Yep.
That was a great timeout, a great motivational speech there.
I'm thinking so.
Fired up. Good gracious.
But after 6 straight points, Hoover gets one back. They're down to 6-11. First set. The ball goes back over. I don't know if you remember, Doug, because I think I'm older than you, even though you call me kid. Remember back in the day, volleyball only scored when you were serving?
Right.
And man, that went on for hours.
Forever.
Another nice serve. I'm glad that they do it this way. It keeps it going, but that was like, we could probably melt one of those Walmart ice cream sandwiches that supposedly can't get melted.
Exactly.
All right,
Be here till midnight.
DeLaura up 13-6.
Good try.
I could have died by a number 6 and then lead. But again, DeLaura's up 14-6.
He's very impressed with his skill level at this age.
Right.
And I've seen high school, as in college.
Right.
Great skill level.
And, we said the same thing about girls flag football. When we watched some of those games and they just started that sport. But again, I think, like you said, a lot of these girls probably play club. Nice rally. But Doug, no matter how good those girls are, it still takes a little bit of consistency to come together and play fluidly as a team.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, that's part of your coaching there. And getting your kids together. Nice save.
Moves it back within 8. DeLaura leads in the first set, 15-7. As we mentioned earlier, if you're not familiar with volleyball, first 2 sets go to 25. You got to win by 2. Third set only goes to 15, but again, got to win by 2. And right now, DeLaura's got a comfortable lead. Set up for number 6. That was Haley Bennett. She's also not there. You got to figure, if you've got 13 out of your 15 girls 8th grade like DeLaura does, they've probably been playing for a while.
Yeah, I'm sure they have played.
They're not coming out here for the first time.
No.
Nice play by Hoover. Man, that's a nice play, keeping that ball alive. Again, it looked like that was going to be an ace.
Yeah, I'm sure these girls that have played competitive volleyball have done the same that my daughter did. We travel all over the state, and sometimes out of state at this age.
Right.
And you go to go to these venues and there's like 100 courts, indoor, 100 courts.
Somebody's making some money that
Oh,
weekend.
absolutely.
All right, nice little set. Back up for number 5. What that call was. Might have been her foot over, touch the net or foot over the line. All right, that puts DeLaura up 17-8. Again, first to 25 by 2. Ava Butler, number 2, back to serve. Another 8th grader. Nice little set. Those leads. Nice little over by Dickerson. Nice little try by Bennett. Didn't quite make it. Point goes to Hoover. They're now serving down by 8, 9-17.
That was a good try by Bennett. You know, she was trying to touch. She was trying to grab a touch shot there.
Right.
But
we've seen a lot of those tonight. That's going to serve by number 5. That was Lucy Burton on the serve by Hoover. The point goes to DeLaura. They're up 18-9. First set. First to 25 by 2. That serving is number 7, Ellie Bennett. Also an 8th grader here on the DeLaura team. Oh, that's out. There's another point to Hoover. Within 8. 10 serving 18. Hoover down by 8. Number 12, Pearl Elkins. Sounds like a good volleyball name. Pearl Elkins. I like that.
yeah.
Back to serve for the Hawks. Down by 8. 10 serving 18 for a set. Serve. Back over. Oh. That's a tough little set. When you're that close to the net, the person in the front line, you can't get in the net. That's a tough one.
You got to set that front line up, and it's just a little too hard here, but they'll learn.
Jordan Walters back to serve for DeLaura, up 19-10. First set. Oh, not quite. Hoover, 11-19. Pretty good crowd. I don't know, 150 maybe. Got the concession stand open. Nice little get by number 11, Walters. The other number 11, nice set. Nice play on the Hoover side. Number 7, Solomon. Might be the kind of play that kind of turns them around a little bit.
Yeah, that was a good hit by, good strike by Solomon.
All right, here we go by 7. Back to serve is number 8, Sadie Dickerson. Nice serve. 25 Hoover. Get ready to serve. Both teams very competitive. It looks like DeLaura a little bit more crisp on that setting up the initial serve.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. I mean, they
right off the rafters. All right. Back over to DeLaura. And the point chain up for the 12.
nice, good.
Kinsey, 21-12, DeLaura, first set.
That was a nice kill by Kinsey.
It sure was. I mean, yeah, and plus to find that open spot. You know, it looks like it might be easy, but to me it's not. And she got that back corner. This is Tent serving. One Hoover. Hoover down 21-13. Back to serve, Ava Solomon. Down by 8, first set. Hoover looking to get a run of their own starting. That's the way you do it. That's an 8. Ava Solomon, 21-14. You know, Doug, if they could just get a nice little run, maybe 3 or 4 points, you know, then maybe give up 1 or 2 and come back.
Be back in
Another.
Yeah, you can get back in it real quick. You have some good server.
Yeah.
And get back in this game real quick.
All right, for DeLaura, number 15. I do not have her on my sheet. I'm not sure who that is. I think some of those serves from DeLaura are going a little bit deeper as well, and it's maybe catching that back line off a little bit, but it seems like they've settled in and maybe the service deep as possible. 23-14.
I think as time goes by, they are settling in.
Right.
Both teams are settling in.
I think this is kind of like soccer, right? Where substitutes have got to kind of
You got to check
tap
in with
and
the
check,
with the
right.
official.
Like soccer does. That's number 12 coming in for Hoover, Pearl Elkins.
It's a great game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so happy that my daughter got into it. You know, she tried soccer, but she didn't like soccer.
Right.
And the great thing about volleyball, Bill, it's indoors. It's air
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I like about it.
The weather forecast doesn't matter. All right, DeLaura down 23-15 with the serve. That's number 2. Elena St. Nice save by DeLaura. Back over. On the Hoover side, number 12, Elkins just came in. Set up for number 14, and that was Olin Lindsay with the fill. And set point for DeLaura up 24-15 in this first set.
Good kill there as well.
Sure was. Just like I said, they're just a little bit more crisp. All right, nice stop. We're going to get it over. Oh, nice. Nice clear. Pearl Elkins. They needed that one. Of course, that's just another set point coming up, but it's 16 serving 24. So, yeah, DeLaura's got 8 more set points. That's all right. You play 1 point at a time, Doug.
That's it.
Set 25-16.
That's very impressive. Both sides.
Yeah, me too. I think, you look back at Katie Tench. I think she had about 6 or 7 points in a row. And like you said earlier, you watched a lot of volleyball. When you get a server that can run off 5 or 6 points in a row, that does take a little air out of the sail of the other team.
She hit that ball with authority too.
Yeah,
she got several aces.
Yes.
And got them on the board real quick there.
You can hear that. While we got a little break in the action, looks like we got about a 3-minute break. We do want to recognize the administration and the coaches for both sides. For the visiting Scotties of DeLaura, good friend of both of ours, Miss Tina Susan as a principal. Another good friend, Miss Candace Terry, is the athletic director. Head coach for the Scotties of DeLaura, Rob Leggett. And then his niece, no related to Candace, Miss Caitlin Terry is the assistant coach. She's also a teacher at DeLaura, teaches civics and TV production. Moving over to the hometown, Hoover Hawks principal Paloma Ferreira, athletic director Miss Brenda Sadowski, who I had the pleasure of working with for a few years while I was here at DeLaura. Head coach Sydney Perfetta, she's a science teacher here at Hoover, and the assistant coach Rebecca Foster also works at Hoover, not sure in what capacity, but that's one thing we talked about before, especially with high school. We love community coaches because they certainly fill a void. But when you've got coaches that are on campus, that see the players every day, maybe see a 6-foot young lady say, "Hey, you ever thought about volleyball?" That's a big plus.
It is a big plus. And unfortunately, like you said, you have to go to the community nowadays to fill your coaching slots. So, and there's some great community coaches.
Absolutely. And again, we're blessed to have them. We probably have some teams that would not be able to field a team, but again, looking at these coaches, 3 of the 4 coaches work at their school, and I think that says a lot. Because like you say, Doug, we've only got, we're one of only 2 counties in Florida out of 67 that only have 7th and 8th grade. So you don't have these students that long. And you mentioned it perfectly earlier. Even girls that haven't played volleyball, if you recognize somebody, even in PE class, that maybe have some skills, kind of get her used to it. So by the time she goes to high school where they have freshman, JV, and varsity, you're doing your job as a coach to build those students before they get to high school.
Exactly. And you know, I taught PE here in high school. And that's what you do. You get the kids out of the PE classes that normally, you know, wouldn't go out for a sport. You know, they didn't have the confidence or whatever. And you just encourage them to go out there, and they get on the weights sometimes, they get stronger. And you can really get some great kids out there.
And you know, you bring up a great point. And again, that was one of the tough things with only having 2 sports in middle school. Now we've got 4. So now some of those soccer players that maybe live in an area that doesn't have a soccer club, or maybe there's a monetary issue, now they can play for their school team. And again, my son went to high school, never played football, never wrestled, never did track, did all 3, lettered in all 3. So, you know, that's a great point. We forget about those PE teachers that also recognize these student athletes and say, hey, have you ever thought about doing that? And one thing in the 11 years that 13 as a teacher and administrator, a lot of these kids in middle school think all the superstars are already out there. They're not. You just got to work for it.
You got to have some great teachers that will give that encouragement. And give them some great coaching.
Exactly.
And your kids played sports, mine played sports. And I know Candy and I, as parents, we told them they have to be involved in something. Whether it's band, sports, or something. You got to be involved in something.
And you know, you're exactly right. You and I got, you know, whether it's as kids or players or coaches, athletic background, but you said it perfectly, especially when they get to high school. It's more than 7 classes a day. Find a club that you like. Find music that you want to do, band or chorus, or now we got robotics teams and you know, or sport. Because when you go to those reunions, drama. Well, there's already enough. Well, okay.
We got enough drama going on.
I think I'm thinking about me and you. But when you go back to those high school reunions, those are the people you hang around. All right, Hoover serving to start the second set, down 1-0. That's number 20. I do not. Oh, there we go, dude. That's Salem Bradford. Her grandparents are actually watching from Tennessee.
Tennessee, volunteer.
How about that? Getting a new quarterback, I understand. Didn't want to pay $4 million for. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, this NIL stuff. I tell you what, I'm totally confused with that stuff.
I'm going to have to tell you, Doug, if ESPN came and said, hey, Bill, then I'm sorry, I'm leaving you by yourself. That's a phone call I'll never get.
Right.
All right, DeLaura, 1-0. Ball's out, 2-0. Again, number 20 is Salem Bradford. Her grandparents are watching from Tennessee. We certainly do appreciate that.
Show it to him.
No, it's Rowan Post. Brooklyn's not the libero today, just Rowan.
Rowan Post. And she's a libero?
She is, but today she's 0. She's the libero.
Oh, where is she?
She's in the dark blue. She's number 0.
So Rowan Post is 0?
Today she's 0.
Okay. And Brooklyn is what?
And what?
Where is she playing?
She is. She's number 15 today.
Okay, I saw 15. Okay. All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yep.
I get a little update there. So now we got the numbers. I got my number 15. I didn't have before, so that was working the wrong way. All right, second set. DeLaura up 4-0. Hoover trying to get something going here offensively. Oh, nice play by Bradford. I hope the grandparents watch that. Oh, another play by Salem. In the net? Oh, her feet were in the net. That's 2 nice plays by Salem Bradford. I think she was under the net.
Great save by
That
Bradford.
sure was. Oh my gosh.
And her grandmother's watching?
Well, Terry, I think grandfather, might be grandparents, but we got some grandparents or parents watching.
Cool. I hope they saw that.
That's
That's amazing.
all right, number 1 on the serve, Michaela Stanley.
Nice little drop shot there.
We've seen a lot of those lately.
Yeah. Well, what they do, they put a spin on it. You know, I talked to my daughter about it. They put it, and it drops. Just
Oh,
drops
gotcha,
off.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, nice play.
Good shot. Good shot.
Kind of like on a par 3, I've seen you hit it, but it spins towards the water. So I think
I have those water balls. They like the water for some reason.
All right, DeLaura, second set up 6-1. Hoover's got his second goal, and they're already down 1-0. 2 undefeated teams playing today. National play by number 3, Katie Tinch. We called her name a lot today. Back to serve, Kaylin Kinsey, 8th grader. DeLaura up, 7-1, second set.
Nice save.
Nice save by Bradford. Oh,
Nice block.
But Hoover stepped in there. That's the one thing about volleyball. You think the play is over. And then that ball's still bouncing around and those girls know to go after it.
I tell you what, there's great effort from both teams.
It sure was.
You can tell it's a rivalry. Can't you?
Yeah, pretty much, right? Like I say, we might have a couple hundred in here tonight. All right, serving 8-1. Another nice play by Salem. Average number 12, 7th grader, one of only 2 on the roster for DeLaura, Amelia Esterlin. And again, both teams are playing great. I see DeLaura a little bit more crisper finding that open spot, knowing where to place that ball, and they lead 9-1 in the second set. 10-1.
Hoover's going to have to tighten up here.
So they're going to have to get that ball back and make a little bit of a run like Tinch did for DeLaura in the first set. All right, nice set. That was Dickerson. Lower side. Tinch back up for the kill. Nice block. Tinch on the group of DeLaura. She's having a heck of a match today. Called her name several times. And I'd like to say, Doug, some of these volleyball clubs, man, they start them at 6, 7 years old, if not younger. So some of these girls have been playing for a while.
Yeah, they start them young.
All right, DeLaura serving 11-1. Kaylin Kinsey. DeLaura won the first set.
Good try by Solomon.
Sure was. DeLaura is just moving forward in the second set.
Sure are. They
Up 13-1, second set. 14-1.
Hoover may want to take a timeout and try to
Just to get them settled, maybe.
settle them down a little bit.
Like I said, DeLaura is just, listen, some of the best blocks we've seen today are on the Hoover side. But DeLaura just looks a little bit more crisp when they come to setting up number 3 Tinch and finding that open spot. Some hustle, good hustle by Hoover. Point goes over to DeLaura. That is number 2, Ava Butler on the serve. Hoover.
Great hustle by Hoover there.
DeLaura up 15-1, second set. Already won the first set. Hoover trying to get this one back to push it to 3. 16-1. And I think as we watch these two new sports like soccer and volleyball come into play, we're going to start seeing these other teams start to develop. Probably going to see a little bit more of it in elementary schools to get these young ladies ready. So
A little too long, right?
hit by Sadie Dickerson goes long, 17-1. And I think when you and I were doing a couple of the flag football games, I found out that they're doing flag football at the elementary school level. So again, hats off to those PE teachers and administrators. Now that they know what sports they got to get these young kids ready. Back over to Tench. Back to Bradford. Up in the rafters. Nice save. Get it back over.
Nice.
There it was. Nice rally. Here's Tench again. Oh, nice. Number 7, Hoover Solomon on the dive from Hoover. DeLaura moves up and receives one.
DeLaura's just on fire right now. I'm telling you what.
Again, it just, you know, we talked about no matter how much experience these girls have, it's playing together as a team, and you see some of these DeLaura girls that, kind of like you and I talked about, when you got a quarterback and a wide receiver, you kind of know what the other one's doing. I see a little bit more of that on the DeLaura side, consistent. But like you said, we've seen some great play from Hoover.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, 19 serving one. Nice little dive in the back. Oh! That's a nice hit by Ava Solomon.
Just a tough break there, hitting the rafter like that.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Either I'm guessing those college gyms are a little bit larger. I've never seen this much rafter action in a volleyball game.
Yeah. College are a little taller.
Number 2 for DeLaura, Ava Butler, serving 20-1. As a reminder, if you just joined us, I believe it was 25-15, but DeLaura took the first set, 5 points away from taking the match. Back to Bradford. Nice little get up. Ball for the ball. 12 hitting it over, and that's Elkins. Back over to number 4, that was Thomas. Nice rally going between DeLaura and Hoover. Back over to Thomas. Nice get by Solomon. Number 5, that was Wilton.
I've heard her name.
I saw our good friend Doug Butler was watching. Not sure if there's any relationship there, but and again, they're finding that open spot very consistently. 21-1, DeLaura serving. That's a kind of like in tennis. That's one of those where the tennis player usually weighs the other person off. Not that you don't want the point, but all right.
That throws off your timing and everything when it's that net.
Yeah. All right, on the serve, Ava Butler, 22-1. DeLaura trying to close the match out. 3 points away from doing so. 23-1.
I'm telling you what, Satellite's going to have some great volleyball players as well as Mel High.
Exactly. Right.
Us girls here will go to Mel High.
Right. Most of Hoover things to Mel High. A few go to O'Galley, and for DeLaura, a few of those go to DeLaura. So another case by DeLaura, and we're at match point. Only 37 minutes into the match. This is Rowan Post. Now that I got my number right. Sorry about that confusion earlier. She's serving for the match. Nice serve. Serving for Hoover, number 12, Elkins. 2 serves, 24. Match point. Oh, nice catch by Bradford. She's done that a lot tonight. Stays undefeated, leading to a record of 5-0. Hoover dropping 4.
Well, that was a great match there up for.
Yeah, and you know what? We called a lot of those girls on Hoover's side. We called a lot of their names many times. It just looked like just the connectivity, if I'm using the right word, between the DeLaura girls as far as setting each other up, knowing where to hit it. They just looked a little bit sharper as far as playing together.
Yeah, I think so. The skill level may have been a little better on the lower side. But you know, at this age, you just go out and have fun. You know, have fun. You do the best you can. Even on the high school, that's what I used to stress. You know, coaching high school football for 19 years. You know, just go out and give me 100%. I don't care what the scoreboard says. Give me 100%. And that's what both teams did. They were diving. Both teams were diving on the floor. And they played with intensity. So I think both coaches should be happy with what they've seen in players today. But you know, just have fun.
And you know, you said it. And again, this is the first year, so some of these, hopefully, a lot of these young ladies in the 12 schools that are playing maybe are getting their first taste of volleyball. Maybe they don't play in a club. So just like when you started, lacrosse started back in the day, and your daughter played lacrosse, and my daughter did.
Right.
Never played lacrosse in their life, never held a stick, but they were good athletes, and they learned the game. So, you know, I'm going to guess maybe DeLaura's got a few more players that have played club ball, but you're right. Those Hoover girls were all over the court. Really, some of the best blocks came from the Hoover side. Young Miss Bradford, whose grandparents were watching from Tennessee, made a lot of plays when she came into the match. But again, as volleyball continues to be,
thank you. Sam is our daughter. That's my folks that are from Tennessee.
awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, great.
Really
No problem.
appreciate it.
I'll have it on YouTube tomorrow, so if you want to watch it again or your daughter.
Much
Played a
obliged.
great match.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks very much. Good luck the rest of the year. Okay. And again, we talked about that too. When you only got 2 grades that are in middle school here, the elementary schools come into play. So, and I know Rachel Winston, she was the resource teacher for physical ed. She's now a PE teacher at Vieira High School. Brought in lacrosse sticks right here to Miss Sadowski for Hoover. So I think we're going to see more PE activities that hopefully mirror some of these sports that middle school now plays.
Right, I think you're right. You've got to start young.
Right.
Any sport, you've got to start young. And they do. I mean, they do with the travel ball. Starting so young. But like I said, I was impressed with both teams, and I'm happy to see another sport added for the girls at this level.
No, I agree. You know, speaking of more sports, since it only took 38 minutes, we got a little bit of time on our hands while the crowd goes out. Let me see if I can flip this thing around here. I want to make sure I get Doug's good side. But we talked about that earlier. So with the addition of Vieira Middle School, we now have 17 middle schools in Brevard County. 12 are freestanding, and 5 are combo schools at Chicoko, Cocoa Beach, Space Coast, Edgewood, and West Shore, which if you're new to Brevard, that just means they got 7 through 12. And in talking to Tony Riopel, the AD, or texting him back and forth today at West Shore, so the combination schools, because their 7th and 8th graders can play varsity sports, for soccer, their 7th and 8th graders play JV, and for volleyball, they play 9th grade. So that's how we get the 12 middle schools left to play among ourselves or themselves. And in the South Division with Hoover and DeLaura, we also have, let me find it here, Johnson, Central, Southwest, and Stone. So these 2 will play again at DeLaura on Thursday, May the 1st. Again, if Hoover stays undefeated, has a chance maybe to come back and beat them in that last game, then I don't know how that tiebreaker works. But again, it's great to see this other sport. You mentioned about middle school sports. Did a little research yesterday. You know, when you're in the Gator basketball, the national champs, I didn't have a lot of basketball to watch. Yep. For boys soccer, right here, Hoover Middle School was the county champ. And for girls soccer, it was the new Vieira Middle School. For boys track, 8th grade was Kennedy, 7th grade was Southwest. For girls track, also 8th grade was Kennedy, 7th grade was Central. And then for boys basketball, Kennedy Middle School were the champs, and girls basketball, Jackson. So, you know, that's one thing I like that they've done. And Cape Coast Conference, we started doing that when I was the athletic director, is kind of break them up into north-south. So, like, let's say DeLaura goes on and wins the South. That's a feather in their cap, kind of like winning your division in college or your conference before you go to national. So it gives more teams the opportunity to hoist the trophy.
Yeah, and it's tougher for, DeLaura, Hoover. They're small schools to go play
Right.
Kennedy.
Right.
Kennedy Middle School.
Southwest.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Southwest.
1,200
Bigger
kids,
schools.
something, right?
Yeah, so it's good that they split it up like that. Now, back in the old days, they didn't do that.
Right.
When I was coaching middle school
Right.
or junior high school,
Right.
it wasn't set up that way.
So when you
had
played football in middle school, did you go to the high schools to play, or did you make your own makeshift
No, we went to
field?
the high school.
You did? Okay. I
Yeah,
figured
we
because you
went
got to
high
have
school.
stands.
Yeah, we
and-
played at Satellite High School.
Oh, did you?
When I
Okay.
coached here, yeah.
As far as the volleyball playoffs, the semifinals are Tuesday, May the 6th. So basically, let's just say that the top two seeds are DeLaura and Hoover. Then the number one seed plays the number two seed from the north, and the number two seed plays the number one seed. So semifinals will be Tuesday, May the 6th, and then this championship will be at Brevard Middle School on Thursday, May the 8th. I've been to that middle school. It's the biggest middle school gym we have, seating on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
So hats off to the district for putting that out there. Now they can host a lot of competitions, even AAU and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's great.
that works out pretty
Maybe
good.
we'll
for
have to
them.
do that final game.
Well, we'll have to see unless they make us charge us or something. I don't know. I think I know the athletic director. But some of our buddies, they may take that one, but we'll certainly see. What's up? You doing good?
going on?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
You know what? We're just two guys living the dream.
I know, living the dream.
Just putting
Back in
some-
the Hoover Dome.
Back in the Hoover Dome, and like we were talking, and as we're talking, we still got a few people watching. Miss Marola, one of my friends, great teacher here, running the concession stand. I think she works 12 hours a day, and then the other 12 hours she's on social media.
I'm now 11 and a half hours.
11 and a half hours. Okay, yeah, we got a little reprieve today.
Yes.
So let me ask you, as a teacher here, and you've been here for many, many years, what's the buzz around campus for adding two more sports and giving those kids some more opportunities?
I think the kids are enjoying it.
Good,
It's
good.
really nice. As a coach, it's nice to see them in different aspects.
Right,
And just a little bit more variety.
Right,
It's
right.
nice to see variety.
Right.
So,
And I think like Doug and I were talking, of course, Brenda, great AD and the PE teacher here. It also gives them, I think, the opportunity, maybe some kids that don't play a club sport.
Yes.
And whether you're walking down the hall and see a young lady that's 6 foot tall, or Brenda sees somebody, and it gives them an opportunity maybe just to learn it.
Yes.
And then when they get to high school, now do you still coach track?
yes,
You
track,
know,
soccer.
Okay, and that's what I used to tell kids. At least go out for track.
Yeah.
Because I know that every
Everybody-
kid can run.
everybody can
right.
run.
Everybody can run.
Everybody can run track.
Everybody plays. Sometimes we'll see the 800-yard dash. There'll be 10 kids from one school. That's okay.
Yes.
But again, you're putting on a uniform. You're going to sometimes early morning practice.
Early morning.
You're riding the school bus to another school.
Yes.
And because some of these kids feel like, all the great athletes are already at the high school. No, they're not.
No, this is where they develop.
Yeah, and it gives them that opportunity to do so, and it's great to see. Again, Hoover, DeLaura going to meet up again at DeLaura on Thursday, May the 1st. So Hoover still can control their own destiny, and it was just great to see this match today.
Yes,
So,
it was exciting.
hey, how was concession sales?
Concessions was good.
Okay, good. Okay.
Just a little bit to raise for our mentoring program.
Good for you. Oh yeah, that's great. The
yeah.
one at Lori
Yes,
Charco
Lori
started?
Charco
Yes, that's excellent. Good.
Opportunity.
Well, that's what it is. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
We're gonna close off. Tell Miss Marola goodbye, and best of luck to you. We might see you again.
Yes, you will.
All righty,
All right,
good.
bye.
All righty.
Bye.
So for Doug Cook, I'm Bill Maharis. So Doug, what did you take for our first middle school volleyball match?
Well, I liked it. Like I said, my daughter played
Right.
high school and
Right.
college,
Right.
and I miss not seeing her play anymore
Right.
because she's done.
Right.
But it was a really exciting game.
It was.
And the skill level of it. Like I
Yes,
said, I was very
yes.
impressed with the skill level, the hustle,
Right.
and just a very exciting game.
Yeah, no quitting Hoover. We saw a couple of girls
quit.
almost come up to the third row here chasing
Yeah.
the ball.
Yeah.
So, and that's hats off to the coaches. DeLaura is now 5-0 in the South Division. Hoover down 4-0. But if they take care of business, like they did the first, no offense to the other 4 teams, but if they meet again and they're both undefeated until then, Hoover gets one more chance at them.
Yeah.
So for Doug Cook, I'm Bill Maharis. Hey, thanks for watching. First time we've done middle school volleyball, and whether it's this year or next year, hopefully we'll do some more middle school athletics, because both of us spent a lot of time there, not as a student, but as teachers and administrators. We hope you enjoyed it. If you're still watching, we'll have this posted on my YouTube channel, Press Box Overtime, tomorrow. A little bit easier to find, so certainly let the players know. But for Doug Cook, I'm Bill Maharis. We're Press Box Overtime. Remember, sports, it's more than just a game. We had fun tonight. We hope you did too. We'll see you next time.